John okay, John Davis? Because it was just an ankle injury towards the end.
Yeah, he's got a couple of niggles, John. You know, he's carrying a few bumps. He's played a lot of rugby as well. He's played 7 games on the bounce, including last two autumn internationals. So, but he is training. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the last couple of weeks been a bit of a shock to the system, not just the defeats, but maybe the manner of them a bit.
I think the Ospreys game, it's done now, but we've learnt a lot from that. Hugely disappointing, but that's we can't change that now. What we can do is try and affect the next couple of weeks and what we have coming up after the next couple of weeks in LV, and then 4 huge Rabo games during the international period. So Ulster was frustrating because at 26-10 we were competitive half time, 9-3. It could have easily been 6-3 or 6-all. I think there was a couple of decisions there that maybe we didn't get. We had a missed opportunity to get goal. So going in, I felt we had parity at half time. They had then had a period just after half time where they took the game away from us in terms of the scoreline. A couple of individuals in particular made a huge impact in our defensive line, and then you go from 9-3 to 19-3 within 5 or 6 minutes, and then you're starting to chase the game a little bit. So that was disappointing. We had changes then in the second half. We had 4 centres on the pitch at one point, 2 on the wing, obviously 2 in the centre. We had a winger at fullback. So we had there was lots of things in there which disrupted our momentum in the second half and our ability to go on and win the game. And then the scoreline certainly for me didn't reflect the game. It was and that really flattered and made the match look very, very one-sided, which at one point it wasn't. It was we were well in the game. So lots of things went on, and it's important that every time we win, we try and gain something from those wins, but also learn things. And same when we lose, we've got to be able to look at it, a day or so afterwards, and take some things out of it and improve those things. And I think that's always been my philosophy.
Is there a tendency then Welsh teams kick the ball away too much? If you've got hold of the ball, the opposition can actually damage it. So.
No, that's true. But also, I think in certain field positions, you need to be a bit more pragmatic and realise that some kickers can kick the ball from 50 yards, but not many can. So you've also got to be able to reward the team a little bit sometimes and take the pressure off and not play the game in the wrong areas. And there is an argument to say that sometimes you do too much of one thing, but to get the balance right is a perfect scenario. It's not always perfect.
In terms of your position in the group and your position in the Rabo in particular, are the next 2 games realistically a stepping stone?
I think it's important that we're entering into 2 European games, one against the reigning European champions, one against perceivably one of the top 2 or 3 sides in Europe, and we've probably actually played potentially the one of the top sides last week. We're playing another couple of the top sides in the next couple of weeks. So it's certainly probably showing us where we are as a group, as a team. We've picked up a couple of injuries, which doesn't help when we maybe don't have the depth that some sides have. So I think it's showing us a lot of things, but it is important from my end, from the coaches and the players, and respect to the tournament itself, the supporters, where we've been in this tournament, that we are going out in the next couple of weeks to gain some momentum back into the season, but to try and win 2 games, and that would never change in my eyes. So selection will be a couple of things to consider in selection. some of the things might be obviously those who are injured, who can't be selected, those who are carrying bumps, and those who are possibly fatigued, during the last few weeks as well. So there's lots of things to consider, but I'm in no doubt about wanting to win these next 2 games.
Oddly, their home form in this competition hasn't been great. It's great to win it against Exeter and obviously lost to Clermont.
Yeah, I think Leinster have now got a couple of players back as well from injury, which maybe they weren't playing a couple of weeks ago. O'Driscoll's back, Rob Kearney's back, Luke Fitzgerald in the back line, so they're putting a bit of quality back into their team, which will obviously add to their performance, and yeah, they would be very disappointed probably with certainly with the Clermont loss. They'll be glad to have got away with a 9-6 win against Exeter, and that's what Leinster are good at. They're good sometimes at not playing that well, but winning games.
How much of a factor is O'Driscoll on his own? It seems bizarre that, almost like O'Connell with Munster, they have such a different record when those people are playing that is greater than their individual abilities.
He is, he just leads by example, and they look and feed off him, but I think they've got more than that in their team now. They've got players like Heaslip, and O'Brien's back, Johnny Sexton is running things for them very competently, and he's right on top of his game, coming off the back of a good autumn series for Ireland. So yeah, there's lots in their game other than Brian. He's obviously a huge figure for them, but they can win without him as well. But he obviously it's nice to have him on the side, I'm sure.
Is it a balancing act though? If you say, like, for next season we need X, Y, Z, do you go down the route saying to a young kid 18, 19, we'll go with that? Or do you again go down the route of having to look overseas or look outside?
I think
Wales?
I think a bit of balance really. I think you look at Ulster, a very, very good example of how they brought in a number of players in the spine of the team. They're 3, they're 5, they're 9, they're 8, they're 15, are all overseas. They're with them majority of the time. I know Pinar does go away with South Africa, but they have a spine of their team, and they're able to then probably feel that they can blood some of those youngsters more, because they've got that experience around them, and I think they can learn a lot from those players. The youngsters can. So I think there's just a balance you've got to have, and I think we're still short of a couple of players in a couple of positions, and that's just a fact of life, and some of that is economics, and we've got to deal with that, but we'll be working hard, and the club are very supportive of what we're trying to do and how we're trying to build a team for the next couple of years.
Simon, what do you need to do well to upset the odds this week?
Well, lots of things we need to do really. We need to have a set piece that's functional. They came here, and then the latter end of the game they won a couple of penalties from their scrum, and that gave them 6 points, I think. So that was the difference probably in the end, was a couple of scrums that we didn't get the call on, or went against us, and sometimes that can be the difference, so that parity up front is key, and then when we have opportunities, we've got to be better at taking them, and I don't think we have been in the last 6 or 7 games. We've had opportunities and we haven't been our accuracy and execution, the finishing opportunities hasn't been good enough. So that's there's a bit of pressure on us to get that right, and I think that's what we've been working towards this week.